There is a single sheet of paper I keep beneath the lamp on the chart table of the Ethelred, and on it is one sentence I found I had written in one form or another, in 4 separate volumes of this quest, without at first noticing that it was always the same sentence. Here, the theory announces its own limit. This 12th volume is the long look through the one door that sentence names. It is the first of 4 books in which I take a single unresolved problem the series kept arriving at and never entered, and give it a whole book. The problem is the quantum theory of gravity, the law that must lie beneath both space and time, the place where our 2 great descriptions of the world stop speaking to each other. My central question is exactly that plain. Why does the universe run on 2 rule books that will not merge into one? And of all the beautiful attempts to write the missing single rule book, what could ever be tested and what may be permanent silence? I wrote it as I have written all the others, as a juror, not an advocate. Every claim in the book carries a label that marks how well it is supported and not how thrilling it is. Established science for what is confirmed and mechanistically understood. Contested but serious frontier for what accomplished physicists actively fight over. Speculative bridge for a link that is plausible in principle but not yet earned. And a plainer verdict still for the claims the evidence simply will not carry. I hold to the sharpest form of the question the series has leaned on from the start. Not is this idea beautiful, but what in this world could ever tell us whether it is true? The field I am reporting on is the most beautiful and the least tested in all of physics, and beauty is not evidence. I say that of the cathedrals I most admire, and I keep saying it. The book is built in 7 movements. The first states the problem in full. I audit the 4 corridors down which the series kept walking to the same locked door. The black hole's core, the first instant of the expansion run backward, the breakdown of quantum field theory at the shortest distances, and the pure structural clash of a theory with a fixed stage against a theory whose stage is a player. General relativity I call the continuous cathedral, and I pay its ledger of confirmations in full, from light bending at the eclipse to GPS clocks to GW 17708-7 pruning its rivals. Quantum field theory I call the discrete cathedral, and I credit it as the one force we already tamed. Then I show precisely why they will not marry, non-renormalizability, the 15 orders of magnitude of silence between what we can reach and the Planck scale where the answer hides. The second movement follows the sharpest clue we have, which is the black hole. I take it as the law's Rosetta Stone, its horizon entropy, Hawking's evaporation, the information paradox, the firewall crisis that AMPS forced on us, and the Irapper conjecture and the page curve, where space-time itself begins to look as though it is sewn from entanglement. I add the laboratories the universe runs for free, magnetars, relativistic jets, the clocks in the dark where extreme gravity meets extreme magnetism. The third movement walks the string program in full and honestly. One string sounding every note, gravity falling out of the mathematics for free rather than being inserted by hand, 5 theories united by an 11-dimensional M, the super partners we have not found, the landscape of 10,500 possible universes, and the anthropic temptation it opens, and the swampland that tries to draw a border around the possible. This is the most beautiful, untested idea in science, and I grade it exactly as that phrase implies, a reservoir of structure without a single confirmed novel prediction. The fourth movement takes up holography, the startling possibility that the whole of the world is written on its boundary, Maldaceno's gauge, gravity duality, and the It from Qubit program in which space-time is built from entanglement. The fifth turns to the rivals that quantize the stage itself, loop quantum gravity and its atoms of space, the bounce that loop cosmology puts where the Big Bang singularity used to be, causal sets, and the conservative wagers of asymptotic safety and causal dynamical triangulations. The sixth returns to quantum foundations and the first instant, measurement, entanglement, and what replaces the singularity, whether bounce, emergence, or genuine beginning. And the seventh is the experimental frontier and the verdict, the windows onto the Planck scale we are actually building, Lorentz violation searches, tabletop tests of whether gravity can entangle two masses, collapse models, and the primordial sky, where B-mode polarization could carry the fingerprint of a quantized gravitational field from the beginning of time. The verdicts are the heart of it, and I lay them on a doubled scorecard. What each program has achieved inside its own mathematics, and what it has delivered to the only authority that finally matters, the instrument. Inside their mathematics, the achievements are enormous and real. These are not cranks and dreamers, but the most accomplished efforts in modern physics. Against the instrument, not one has been confirmed, and all are mutually inconsistent with one another. That plurality, I argue, is not a failure to be corrected by the next clever person. It is, for now, the honest state of the subject. I refuse to crown a winner because there is none to crown, but I guard hard against the misreading that evenness invites. To say none is confirmed is not to say all are equal. Holography has done real work. It turned a laboratory calculation right in the quark-gluon plasma at RHIC and the LHC. And I pay a credit I had been storing up exactly 3 places where a quantum gravity idea stuck its neck out before the data and was not simply wrong. Sorkin's causal set prediction of a small positive cosmological constant, holography's plasma calculation, and the Frontier's live wagers on primordial gravitational waves. A juror who records only the failures is being lazy, not fair. I follow one thread more closely than a neutral survey would, and honesty requires me to name it. This whole series has been an argument that we undercredited electromagnetism and the plasma state in our picture of the cosmos, an argument that mostly lost on the evidence where the earlier volumes tested it. But it has one honest foothold left, and it is exactly here. Electromagnetism is the single fundamental force we have already succeeded in quantizing. Quantum electrodynamics is the most precisely tested theory in the history of science, and every program in this book is, in one way or another, trying to do for gravity what we long ago did for light. Where that connection is real, the gauge theory, the gauge-gravity duality, the plasma laboratories, I follow it and credit it as a load-bearing fact. Where the electric instinct overreaches into a claim it cannot cash, I say so plainly and mark it a speculation honestly labeled in a chapter I titled exactly that. The foothold is genuine. It is also just a foothold. I did not want to end in either a creed or a shrug, and there is a specter in the room I refuse to wave away, that the final law may be undecidable by any instrument we can build, the Planck scale a wall we never scale. If that shadow proves real, the fair juror still does not conclude that undecidability makes every candidate as good as true, that beauty may be promoted to proof by default because proof has gone out of reach. That is despair wearing the mask of humility, and it is a surrender. So I set the verdict down as plainly as I know how. String theory, loop quantum gravity, holography, causal sets, asymptotic safety, the triangulations, all mathematically serious, all mutually inconsistent, not one yet a theory of the confirmed world. The door is still locked. This is the honest account of everyone now bent over the lock. And the legacy is not any verdict, but the method that produced it. Grade every belief by its support, follow the evidence past your own preference, and past the prestige of whoever holds the beautiful idea, and ask always the one question that separates science from everything that imitates it. The lamp has burned low, the ice has thickened on the shrouds, and I add this volume to the pile, spine to the others. Here the theory announces its own limit. I have stopped being troubled.